Welcome back for the last episode of Penpal. Friends. We are back again. The last episode was Veronica? Screens. Screens is the story name.
You're
Let's
all
see.
about Veronica.
This story is supposed to give us the answers to all our clues and supposed to be the final touch. And let's see what the answer to everything is. Oh, that's the cat!
Yep. Say hi, Gremlin.
Oh,
Yep.
she cute.
She is just a little void on the camera, isn't she?
Yeah. Oh, that is boxes. Alright, so I will say this one last time today. Do you want to start us off?
I suppose. Yeah. On the first day of kindergarten, my mother had We're back to kindergarten now, are we?
Oh, yeah.
On the first day of kindergarten, my mother had elected to drive me to school. We were both nervous, and she had wanted to be there with me all the way up to the moment I walked into class. It took me a bit longer to get ready in the morning due to my still mending arm. The cast came up a couple of inches
Oh,
past
I thought it said the cat came up to me.
the cast. Where I came up?
Cast came up.
The cast came up a couple of inches past my elbow, which meant that I had to cover the entire arm.
Oh,
Especially
yeah,
designed
right.
with that
Oh,
fabric
he broke his fucking arm in boxes. Oh, I almost... That was such a
Yeah, I know.
random input. But it makes
Yeah,
sense.
no, his timeline, he definitely
It
that's why
finally makes
we're
sense.
back. We go back from him as a teenager suddenly back to kindergarten. The bag was built to pull tight around the opening in order to seal out any water that might otherwise destroy the cast. I had gotten really adept at cinching the bag myself. That morning, however, perhaps due to my excitement and nervousness, I hadn't pulled the strap tight enough, and halfway through the shower, I could feel water pooling inside the bag around my fingers. I jumped out and tore the latex shield away, but could feel the previously rigid plaster had become soft after absorbing the water.
Oh, that's gonna become disgusting. That odor. I remember my old friend back in the days named Devin, I think, when he broke his arm, or his little finger, and he had a cast around his entire arm. I remember it getting wet, and it smelled like dead fish for like 3 weeks in class.
I mean, I was about to ask. I've never had a plaster cast. Like, is that a thing? Like, I know that you don't necessarily like. I would expect you don't want water to get in where all the padding is, because all that moisture collecting against your skin would definitely cause some sores.
Yep.
But I wouldn't
Yeah,
expect
the odor. Yep. The air has nowhere to escape from. It's tightly stuck to your arm. So like it.
I know. I can imagine like the nasty, not necessarily athlete's foot, but the same concept, just mildew and mold growing all up in your armpit and on your in your elbow pit crease. What the hell is that spot named? Anyways, we can feel the rigid plastic becoming soft and absorbing the water. Because there was no way to effectively clean the area between your body and cast, the dead skin that would normally have fallen away merely sits there. Yeah, no, that's what I was. When stirred by moisture like sweat, it emits an odor, and apparently this odor is proportionate to the amount of moisture introduced. Nasty.
Yep.
Because soon after I thought I began to attempt to dry it, I was struck by the powerful stench of rot. Yeah. As I continued to frantically rub it with a towel, it began to disintegrate. Wow. I was growing increasingly distressed. I had put as much effort as a child could into his very first day of school. Oh, man. First day of school smelling like dead fish.
Oh, Eve,
Wow.
by the way, do you remember Ivan Kachind from our 100 subscribers special when we had live? He wanted to join a future this kind of video.
Yeah. Sounds fun.
So if maybe Jeff the Killer story.
Ding!
Okay, where were we? He joined school with a fucking.
I was growing increasingly distressed. I put in much of it. I had sat with my mom picking out my clothes the night before. I had spent a great deal of time picking out my backpack. And I becoming exceedingly excited to show everyone my lunchbox that had the Ninja Turtles.
Oh wait, that's actually also fun. Did you remember what Veronica said? Do you still play Ninja Turtles with your friends?
Yeah, no, another fun full circle. I'd fallen into my mom's habit of calling these children I hadn't yet my friends already, but as the condition of my cast person, I became deeply upset and thought that surely I wouldn't be able to apply that label to anyone by the time this day was over. I mean,
that's
yeah,
so sad.
Suddenly I understand why this kid was left alone. Like, he showed up his first day smelling like dead fish. Yeah, first impressions are a bitch.
Yep.
Defeated, I showed my mom.
Okay.
It took 30 minutes to get most of the moisture out while working to preserve the rest of the cast. To address the problem with the spell, my mom cut slivers of a bar of soap and slid them down the cast, and then rubbed the remainder of the soap on the outside.
Wouldn't that cause like infections? Oh wait, it's not. I mixed up broken arm and scars.
Yeah, no, just put in a little soap. Like, might as well rub some potpourri while you're at it. Shit. The cocoon the rancid smell inside of a more pleasant one. By the time we arrived at school, my classmates were already engaged in their second activity, and I was shoehorned into one of the groups. I wasn't made very clear on what the guidelines of the activity were, and within about 5 minutes, I had violated the rules so badly that each member of the group complained to the teacher and asked why I had to be in their group. Ooh.
Wait, is this during the same time as balloons, or is that later on?
So he shows up smelling like fish, shows up late, fucks up the project. Like, man, no wonder this kid got avoided like a leper. Like,
yeah, that's crazy.
Man.
But like, I asked, do you think is this? Did he say if this is before or after balloons? You know, the second story, the first one, the first one in the timeline. You know, the Penpal.
I think this is.
This is kindergarten. This is the kindergarten, so it is.
Yeah, I think this is leading up to the Penpal.
Okay.
I had brought a marker to school, hoping that I could collect some signatures or drawing on my cast next to my mother's. I suddenly felt very foolish for having even put the marker in my pocket that morning.
Oh, that's so sad. Oh, blood.
Kindergartners had the lunchroom to themselves at my elementary school, but some of the tables were off limits, so I didn't have to sit alone. I was self-consciously picking at the fraying ends of my cast when a kid sat across from me. Hey, I'm guessing this is Josh.
Yes. I like your lunchbox.
I love how a 5-year-old sounds like a 60-year-old smoker.
It's still Josh. I need to do his voice.
I mean, yeah, no, it's still Josh. I could tell he was making fun of me, and I grew really angry. In my mind, that lunchbox was the last good thing about my day. I didn't look up from my arm. I felt a burning in my eyes from the tears that I was holding back. I looked up to tell the kid to leave me alone, but before I could get the words out, I saw something that made me pause. He had the exact same lunchbox. Aw, that's kids for you. Hey, we have the same lunchbox. Friends forever. Until I grow a crush on your sister and we don't talk for 3 years.
Oh yeah, right.
I laughed.
Wait, where are we? I left. I like your lunchbox too. I think Michelangelo. No, okay, that's too much. I think Michelangelo's the coolest.
He said while miming nunchuck moves. I was in the middle of rebutting by saying that Raphael was my favorite when he knocked open his carton of milk off the table and onto his lap. I tried very hard to stifle my laughter since I still didn't know him at all, but the struggling look on my face must have struck him as funny because he started laughing first. Suddenly I didn't feel so bad about my cast and thought that this person would hardly notice now anyways. Just then, thought I tried my luck.
Hey, do you want to sign my cast?
As I pulled out the marker, he asked how I broke it. I told him that I fell out of the tallest tree in my neighborhood. He seemed impressed. I watched him laboriously draw his name, and when he was done, I asked him what it said. He told me it said, Josh. Or did you want to say that?
Yes. Yosh!
Josh. Oh, so he
Josh.
suddenly, I'm guessing that's the Swedish pronunciation of Josh.
Josh.
Josh said I had...
No, that would be Josh.
Oh, okay.
Josh.
Well, I was being a smartass, and now I'm being corrected. So humble me, why don't you? Josh and I had lunch together every day, and whenever we could, we partnered up for projects. I helped him with his handwriting, and he took the blame for when I wrote farts on the wall in permanent marker.
Kids.
Okay, I would come. Actually, I had and this is actually as an adult.
Okay.
The dude that I melt metal with, for some random reason, he got it in his head to color on the walls at work rainbows. And he got called in the office, and he said that they were so touchy about the subject. Like, they were so afraid that they were about to get a gay guy up their ass about fucking identity politics. They're like, so why rainbows? And he goes, I don't know. I just thought he just randomly felt like drawing rainbows on the walls. Like, this guy. And he's an adult. This man is in his 30s, damn near in his 40s.
Oh man.
Yeah, no, you say kids. No, this does not end. I know a man.
Okay. I rephrase. Adults.
People, weirdos.
Weirdos.
Like, yeah, no, I will admit that this man is weird. Like, he is a strange individual, and I wouldn't have it any other way. Moving a friendship outside of school. Oh, hold on. Josh and I had lunch every day when I fired on the wall. But I think I knew even then that Josh was my only real friend.
Aww.
Moving a friendship outside of school when you were 5 years old is actually more difficult than most remember. The day we launched our balloons,
Oh.
we all had such a good time that I asked Josh if he wanted to come to my house the next day to play. He said he did and that he'd bring some of his toys. I said that we could also go exploring and maybe swim in the lake. When I got home, I asked my mom, and she said it would be fine. My enthusiasm was boundless until I realized that I had no way of contacting Josh to tell him. I spent the whole weekend worrying about our friendship would dissolve by Monday. When I saw him after the weekend, I was relieved to find that he had run into the same obstacle I had thought, and that I had the same obstacle and thought it was funny. Later that week, we both remembered to write down our phone numbers at home and then exchange them at school. My mom spoke with Josh's dad, and it was decided that my mom would pick Josh up and myself from school that Friday. We alternated this basic structure nearly every weekend. The fact that we lived so close made things much easier on our parents, who seemed to work constantly.
Oh, now we reach into the boxes territory, I see.
Yeah, no, this is going to be stretching from this might be an interconnecting story that's going to connect all of them, which,
I would love that.
I'm getting clogged, and my vocal cords are too stressed to fucking force that. Damn.
Don't die on me. Don't do a Veronica.
No, good weed. Despite the fact that we spent the majority of our time.
You're on the wrong again. One paragraph.
Yeah, no. Weird noise suddenly started behind me. Like, I think it's just a cricket that suddenly decided to sing whenever I didn't have to deal with a cricket. When my mom and I moved across the city at the end of first grade, I was sure that our friendship had seen its last day. As we drove away from the house I had lived in my whole life, I felt sadness that I knew wasn't just about a house. I was saying goodbye to my friend forever. Josh and I, to my surprise and delight, stayed close. I mean, yeah, no, cherish that.
That's a real friendship.
Yeah, no. Despite the fact that we spent the majority of our time apart. We only saw one another on weekends. We remained remarkably similar as we grew. Our personalities coalesced. Our senses of humor complemented each other's, and we would often find that we had started liking new things independently. We even sounded enough alike that when I stayed with Josh, he would sometimes call my mom, pretending to be me. His success rate was impressive.
Hmm.
My mom would sometimes joke that the only way she could tell us apart sometimes was by our hair. He had straight, dirty blonde hair like his sister, while I had curly, dark
Oh.
brown hair like my mother.
Wait, this is. I feel like this is leading up to a part where the kidnapper will see the wrong kid. He's searching for the narrator, but he will accidentally kidnap Josh.
Oh yeah, I have a thing for this dark-haired, curly-haired kid. Instead, I'm gonna accidentally pick up this blonde, straight-haired kid. That's definitely a mistake a psychopath make whenever they're so particular about their victims.
Yep.
Oh, anyways, where was I? God damn, my back is. Marathons. Anyways, this brown hair mother. One would think the thing most likely to drive two young friends apart would be what's their favorite control. What's out of their control. However, I think the catalyst of our gradual disengagement was my insistence that we sneak out to my old house to look for boxes. Oh, so that
Boxes.
night ruined you guys' friendship.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
But they told that in episode 5. That after boxes they stopped being friends or
Yeah,
met
they
each
kind
other
of
less and less and less up until they
Fair
were
enough.
12, I think, and then they didn't see each other for 3 years. And now
Ugh,
he's
can I read from
kidnapped.
One would think that. Ugh, wow. Old man can't read from that distance. But yeah, no, that blanket's not enough. So transition into the bed. So now you get this angle.
Okay.
I suppose that's actually not too bad of an angle. One would think that one would think well, next weekend I invited Josh over to my house, in keeping with our tradition of alternating houses. But he said he wasn't really feeling up to it. We started seeing each other progressively less of one another over the next year or so. So I had gone from once a week to once a month to once every couple of months. Man.
Oh, for my 12th birthday. Oh, see, it was one of it. Well,
Yeah. For my 12th birthday, my mom threw a party for me. I hadn't made that many friends since we had moved. So it wasn't a surprise party. My mom had no idea who to invite. I told a handful of kids I'd become acquainted with and called Josh to see if he wanted to come. Originally, he said that he didn't think he could make it, but the day before the party, he called me to say that he'd be there. I was really excited because I hadn't seen him in several months. Oh, there's. Yes.
okay. Okay, so this is supposedly the last time they meet.
Supposedly, I guess. The party went pretty well. My biggest concern was that Josh and the other kids wouldn't get along, but they seemed to like each other well enough. Josh was surprisingly quiet. He hadn't brought me a gift and apologized for that, but I told him it wasn't a big deal. I was just glad he was able to make it. I tried to start several conversations with him, but they seemed to keep reaching dead ends. I asked him what was wrong. I told him that I didn't get why things had become so awkward between us. They were never like this before. We used to hang out almost every weekend and talk on the phone every couple of days. I asked him what happened to us. He looked at him staring at his shoes and he just said,
You left. No. you, you left.
Just after he said that, my mom yelled in from the other room that it was time to open presents. I forced a smile and walked into the dining room as they sang Happy Birthday. There were a couple of wrapped boxes and a couple of cards since most of the extended family lived out of state. Most of the gifts were silly and forgettable, but I remember that Brian, hey, here's a new
Hey,
man.
Brian.
Hi, Brian.
Hello, Brian. Welcome to the
great
team.
Mighty Max toy shaped like a snake that I kept for years afterwards. My mom was insistent that I open all the cards that had been brought and thank each person who had given one, because several years before, on Christmas, I'd torn through the wrapping paper on envelopes with such fervor that I had destroyed any possibility of discerning who had sent which gift and what amount of money. We separated the ones that had been sent by mail and ones that had been brought that day, so my friends wouldn't have to sit through me opening cards from people that I had never met. Most of the cards were from my friends, had a couple of dollars in them, and the ones from my family members contained larger bills. One envelope didn't have my name written on it, but it was in the pile, so I opened it. The card had a
Continue
generic
reading.
floral pattern.
I will come back.
The card had a generic floral pattern on its face and seemed to be a card that had been received by someone else who was now recycling it for my birthday, because it was actually a little dingy. I actually appreciated the idea that it was a reuse card, since I'd always thought that cards were silly. I angled it so that the money wouldn't fall to the floor when I opened it. But the only thing that came out but the only thing inside was a message that had come printed on the card. I love you. Whoever had given me this card hadn't written anything in it, but they had circled a message in pencil a couple of times. I chuckled a little and said, "Gee, thanks for the awesome card." Oh, wait, no. You're just in time for your line that I almost stole from you again. I chuckled a little and said,
Yeah, thanks for the awesome card, Mom.
She looked at me quizzically and then turned her attention to the card. She told me it wasn't from her and seemed amused as she showed my friends, looking at the faces discerned who had played the joke. None of the kids stepped forward, so my mom said, "Don't worry, sweetheart. At least you know.
Don't worry, sweetheart. At least you know now that two people love you. What a fucking frat thing to say to a kid who's bullied his whole life.
She followed that with an extremely prolonged, excruciating kiss to my forehead that transformed the group's bewilderment into hysteria. They were all laughing, so it could have been any of them. But Mike, hello, Mike.
Oh, who the fuck is Mike?
Oh no. To become a participant rather than the subject of the gag, I said to him that just because he had given me the card, that he shouldn't think that I'd kiss him later. We all left, and as I looked at Josh, I saw he was finally smiling.
Well, I think that gift might be the winner, but you have a couple more to open.
My mom slid another present in front of me. I was still feeling the tremors of suppressed chuckles in my abdomen as I tore the colorful paper away. Colorful paper away. When I saw the gift, I had no need to suppress the laughter anymore. My smile dropped as it looked like what I had been given.
Oh fuck!
It was a pair of walkie-talkies.
Okay. Okay, we're back. Another circle is finished. The walkie-talkies. Yep. When were the walkie-talkies introduced? Oh, it was boxes. Yeah, right.
I just remember one day the parents pulled the money for the walkie-talkies. And anyways, you got a line.
Oh yeah, right. Was it from boxes? I think. Anyways. Yeah. Well, go on. Show everyone.
I held them up, and everyone seemed to approve. But as I drew my attention to Josh, I could see that he had turned a sickly shade of white. We locked eyes for a moment, and then he turned and walked into the kitchen. As I watched him dial a number on the corded phone attached to the wall, my mom whispered in my ear that she knew Josh and I didn't talk as much since one of the walkie-talkies had broken. So I thought I'd like it. I was filled with an intense appreciation for my mom's thoughtfulness. But this feeling was easily overpowered by the emotions resurrected by the returning memories I tried so hard to bury.
Oh wait! In boxes, this
This is after boxes. This is
I know.
Replacement.
This is 2 years after boxes. But
So
I remember back in boxes we were talking about the line in the end where they said, where he said he told his mother a few days ago about this, about
yeah.
the boxes experience, and we imagine it being 2 days later, but maybe it was 2 days before he wrote that story, because in this part of the story, 2 years later, it seems like she doesn't know what happened at the house, because she said that they just lost the walkie-talkies.
Yeah, that
Uh,
definitely sounds plausible. And also, this guy's all over the place today. I'm starting to have trouble remembering his own stuff. My brain's getting a little fried from all. What have we been doing at this 6? We said this was going potentially being 6 hours. I believe we're reaching the 6 hour mark.
yep.
Ugh. All right, where was I?
I held them up.
When everyone was eating cake, I asked Josh who he had called. He told me he wasn't feeling well, so he called his dad to come get him. I understood that he wanted to leave, but I told him that I wished could hang out more. I extended one of the walkie-talkies to him, but he put his hand up in refusal. Dejected, I said, "Well,
Well,
thanks for
thanks for
coming, I guess."
brother. Well, thanks for coming, I guess. I hope I'll see you before my next birthday. I'm sorry, I'll try to call you back more often. I really will.
The conversation stagnated as we waited by my door for his dad. I looked at his face. Josh seemed genuinely remorseful that he hadn't made more of an effort. His mood seemed suddenly bolstered by an idea that struck him. He told me that he knew what he'd get me for my birthday. It would take a while, but he thought that I would really like it. I told him it wasn't a big deal, but he insisted. He seemed in better spirits and apologized for being such a drag at my party. He said that he was tired, that hadn't been sleeping well. I asked him why he was. Asked him why that he was. I asked him why that was, as he opened the door in response to his dad's honking in the driveway. He turned back toward me and waited quiet as he answered my question.
I think I've been sleepwalking. And that marks officially the last line from Josh in this entire series. Oh,
Alrighty.
I think I've been sleepwalking is also a crazy line. Um, because that's the exact thing we thought the narrator did in Footsteps. So the circle is really starting to close.
Yeah.
I'm actually really intrigued to see what happened to Josh, because I really don't remember.
Yeah. And like you said, I'm going into this blind. That was the last time I saw my friend, and a couple months later, he was gone. Over the past several weeks, my relationship between my mother and I had grown increasingly strained due to my attempts to learn the details of my childhood. It is often the case that one cannot know the breaking point of a thing until that thing fractures. And after the last conversation with my mother, I imagined that we will spend the rest of our lives attempting to repair what had taken a lifetime to build. She had put so much energy into keeping me safe, both physically and psychologically. I thought that the walls meant to insulate me from harm were also protecting her emotional stability. As the truth came pouring out the last time we spoke, I could hear trembling in her voice that I think was a reverberation of the collapse of the world. I don't imagine my mother had a will to talk very much anymore, and while are still some things I don't understand,
Okay, wait, did he lose contact with his mother as well?
I don't know.
This guy.
Where the fuck is there suddenly a strain with
What?
with his relationship?
He lost contact with Josh. He lost contact with all his friends. He lost contact with the kidnapper for 5 years.
Like I said, this dude built up a lot of points with me early on for having a good vocabulary and a good string of thought. But it's unraveling, my friend. It is unraveling. After Josh disappeared, his parents had done all that they could to find him. From the very first day, the police had suggested that they contact all of Josh's friends, parents, all of his friends' parents to see if he was with them. They did this, of course, but no one had seen him or had any idea of where he might be. Police had been unable to turn over any new information, and Josh's whereabouts, despite the fact that they had received several anonymous phone calls from a woman urging them to compare this case to the stalking case that had
Oh,
been open for about 6 years
shit!
before.
That's the narrator's mother. Oh, that's why
Potentially.
that maybe that why maybe that was why she was so against him meeting Veronica, because she was actively open to a case of a missing child.
Talking, no one was missing yet.
No, Josh was missing. He was missing for 3 years.
Fair. Scrolled down too far. If Josh's mother's grip on the world loosened when her son vanished, it broke when Veronica died. She had many people die at the hospital, but there is no amount of desensitization that can fortify a person against the death of their own child. Her own child. She would visit Veronica twice a day since she was recuperating at a different hospital. Once before her shift and once after. On the day Veronica died, her mother was late leaving work, and by the time she arrived at her daughter's hospital, Veronica had already passed. Ooh.
Ooh, oh, that's sad.
Yeah, this was too much for her, and over the next couple of weeks, she had become increasingly more unstable. She would often wander outside, yelling both for Josh and Veronica to come home, and there were several times her husband found her wandering around my old neighborhood in the middle of the night, half clothed and frantically searching for her son and daughter. Ooh-wee.
Okay, yeah, that pricks in. Losing both her son and her daughter at the same time. That cannot be easy.
Due to his wife's mental deterioration, Josh's dad could no longer travel for work and began taking some construction jobs that were less well paying so he could be closer to home. When they began expanding my old neighborhood more about 3 months after Veronica died, Josh's dad applied for every position and was hired. He was qualified to lead the build sites, but he took a job as a laborer, helping to build frames and clean up sites and whatever else he was needed. He even took odd jobs that would occasionally come up, mowing lawns, repairing fences, anything that would keep him from traveling. They began clearing the woods in the area next to the tributary to transform the land into inhabitable property. Josh's dad was tasked with that was tasked with the responsibility of leveling the recently deforested lot, and he's gonna find his kid's body.
Probably.
And his job guaranteed him at least several weeks of work. On the third day, he arrived at a spot that could not level. Each time he'd drive over it, it would remain lower than all the surrounding land. Frustrated, he got off the machine to survey the area. He was tempted to simply pick more dirt from the depression, to pack more dirt into the depression. But he knew that would only be an aesthetic and temporary solution. He had worked construction for years, and he knew the root systems from the trees that had been recently cut down would often decompose, leaving weaknesses in the soil that would manifest as weaknesses in the foundations above. He weighed his options and elected to dig a little and shovel in. He elected to dig a little with a shovel in case the problem was shallow enough to fix without needing a machine that would have to be brought over from another site. And as my mother described where this was, I knew exactly where that spot both before the soil was broken
Oh, it's a dirt ditch.
It's the hole that he was with the pool floats.
What? He was at the dirt ditch.
He's at the hole with the pool floats.
Is that the oh my fucking gosh. Oh.
Yeah, this dude is trying very hard to thread this needle through all of his stories. He dug a small hole about 3 feet down until his shovel collided with something hard. He smashed his shovel again and repeatedly in an attempt to gauge the thickness of the root and density of the network when suddenly his shovel plunged through the resistance. You just decapitated your son's skeleton.
Yes.
Confused, he dug the hole wider. About half an hour of excavating, he found himself standing on a brown blanket-covered box about 7 feet long and 4 feet wide. Our minds work to avoid dissonance. If we hold a belief strongly enough, our mind will forcefully reject conflicting evidence so we can imagine the integrity of our understanding of the world. We can maintain the integrity of our understanding of the world. Wow, he's trying to get into that
Yeah.
philosophical
And remember,
method
there
tonight.
come lines under here. That's mine, just so you know.
There are
Yeah,
lines
but
coming up. I
wow,
see.
okay, this is going for a dark turn.
Yep. Up until the very next moment, despite what all sense would have indicated, despite the fact that some small but suffocated part of him understood what was supporting his weight, this man believed he knew his son was alive. He's still alive. My mom received a call at 6 p.m. She knew who it was, but she couldn't understand what he was saying. But what what she did comprehend made her leave immediately.
Please, down here. Now, son. Please, God.
When she arrived, she found Josh's dad sitting perfectly still with his back to the hole. He was holding the shovel so tightly it seemed it might snap. And he was staring straight ahead with his eyes that looked as lifeless as a shark's, like a doe's eyes. That was a horrible impression. He wouldn't respond to any of her words, and only reacted when she tried to gently take the shovel from him. He dragged his eyes slowly to hers and just said,
I don't understand.
"Ugh." He repeated this as if he had forgotten all other words. My mother could hear him still muttering it as she walked past him to look in the hole. Yep. He told him
Okay.
he wished she had gouged her eyes out before she faced downward into that crater. And told her that I knew what she was about to say and that she need not continue. I looked at her face, and it was an expression expressing a look of such intense despair that it caused my stomach to turn. I realized that she had known of this for almost 10 years and was
Oh,
hoping
okay.
that
Wait.
she'd
So
never
he's over 25 now.
Yeah.
Okay.
As a result, she never came up and with the proper arrangement of words to describe what she saw. As I sit there here, I'm met with the same difficulty of articulation. Oh, my voice box is wearing the fuck out.
Okay.
Ugh. How much more we got? Oh, this is
We get into
Jesus
the
Christ.
harsh stuff now.
Yeah, no. I'll just be my
Yeah, this is
my
impressive.
vocal.
You have been doing this for like 6 hours now. It's crazy.
Yeah, no, my voice box is definitely wore the fuck out. Ugh. Give me a second.
Yeah, 6 hours at 3 a.m. for me. Oh,
Ugh. Ugh. Yeah, no, like I can like my actual Adam's apple is getting wore the fuck out over here. Ugh. Josh was dead. His face was sunken in and contorted in such a way that it was as if the misery and hopelessness of all the world had been transferred to it. The assaulting smell of decay rose from the crypt, and my mother had to cover her nose and mouth to keep from vomiting. His skin was cracked, almost crocodilian, and a stream of blood had followed these lines and dried on his face after pulling and straining the wood around his head. His eyes lay half lidded, facing straight up. She said they look of He said by the look of him, he had not been long dead, and thus time had not brought the mercy of degradation to erase the pain and terror that was now etched into his face. She said it was as if he had fixed his gaze right on her, his open mouth, offering an all too late plea for help. The rest of his body, however, wasn't visible.
Oh, now your screen froze. Oh. What happened here? Okay. Give me a second, I'm going to the toilet again. Meanwhile, you can wait for his camera to work again.
Hello? Well, okay, hell. How far? That. Ugh.
Oh. Working again, I see. You disconnected?
Yeah, no. I heard a weird sound and suddenly things dropped. So
Well,
I am currently wondering how far back I have to go.
Someone else was laying on him or something.
Someone else was covering it.
Yep.
You need to say it.
It's okay, we're soon done here.
Wow, and this is a very small scroll bar I am seeing on the side of my screen. He was large and lay face down on top of Josh, and as my mother's mind stretched itself to take in what her eyes were attempting to tell her, she became aware of the significance of the way in which he lay. He was holding Josh.
Okay.
Her legs lay frozen by death, but entangled like vines in some lush tropical forest. One arm rested under John's neck, only to wrap around his body so that they might lay closer still. As the sun passed through the trees, its light became reflected by something pinned to Josh's shirt. My mother stooped to one knee and raised the collar of her shirt over her nose so that she might block out the smell. When she saw what caught the sun, her legs abandoned her and she nearly fell into the tomb. It was a picture. A picture of me as a child. She staggered backwards, gasping and trembling, and collided with Josh's father, who still sat facing away from the hole. She understood why he called her, but she could not bring herself to tell him what she had kept from everyone for all these years. Josh's family never knew about that night I had woken up in the woods. He knew now that she should have told him. But to tell him now would help nothing. As she sat there, resting her back against Josh's dad's, he spoke.
I can't tell my wife. I can't tell her that a little boy.
His speech staggered in fits as he pressed his wet face into his dirt-caked hands.
She couldn't bear it.
After a moment, he stood up, still shuddering, and lumbered toward the grave. With a final sob, he stepped down into the coffin. Guy's dad was a big man, but not as big as the man in the box. He grabbed the back of the man's collar and pulled hard. It was as if he intended to throw the man out of the grave in singular motion, but the collar ripped and the body fell back onto the top of his son.
You motherfucker!
He grabbed the man by the shoulders and heaved him back until he was off of Josh and sat awkwardly but upright against the wall of the grave. He looked at the man and staggered back a step. I mean, has no one knows what rigor mortis does to a body?
Oh God. Oh God, no, please God. Please God, no.
In a struggling but powerful movement, he lifted and pushed the corpse immediately out of the ground, and they both heard the sound of glass rolling against wood. It was a bottle. He handed it to my mother. It was ether. Ooh.
Huh. Oh gosh.
He sobbed.
My boy. My baby boy. Why is there so much blood? What did he do to you?
As my mother looked at the man who now lay facing upwards, she realized she was facing the person who had haunted our lives for over a decade. She had imagined him so many times, always evil and always terrifying. The cries of Josh's father seemed to confirm her worst fears, but as she stared at his face, she thought that this didn't look like who she imagined. This was just a man. As she looked at his frozen expression, it actually looked serene. The corners of the lips were turned up only slightly. She saw that he was smiling. Not the expected smile of a maniac from a film or a horror story. Not the smile of a demon or the smile of a fiend. The smile of contentment, satisfaction. It was a smile of bliss. And, this is creepy. It was a smile of love.
Love.
As she looked down from his face, she saw a tremendous wound on his neck from where the skin had been ripped out. She was at first relieved when she realized that the blood had not been Josh's. Perhaps she had suffered less. The discomfort was short-lived as she realized just how wrong she was. She brought a hand up to her mouth and whispered, almost as if she was afraid to remind to the world what had happened.
They were alive.
Josh must have been bitten the man on the neck in an attempt to get free, and although the man had died, Josh couldn't move him. I began crying, and I thought of how long he must have laid there.
This is actually dark.
Yeah. She looked through the man's pockets for some kind of identification. She only found a piece of paper. On it was a drawing.
Oh.
A man holding his hand with a small boy.
No.
And next to her initials.
What the fuck?
Yeah, no.
Another closing circle.
All the stories.
All the stories is connected. Now is the only thing we need is a map.
Yeah, a map, a walkie-talkie, a dead cat.
No, we got the walkie-talkie earlier.
Oh yeah, no, we got the walkie-talkie.
But
or no, we only had his walkie-talkie. The walkie-talkie was still that was transmitting the cat was still lost elsewhere. As well.
I'd like to think.
Up there, yeah. Sorry, my eyes had to.
Yeah, my eyes is hurting too.
Yeah, no, old man syndrome kicking in. I'd like to think that she was remembering that part of the story inaccurately, but I'll never know for sure. As Josh's father carried his son out of the grave, my mom slid the piece of paper into her pocket. She kept muttering that his son's hair had been dyed. She saw that it had. It was now dark brown, and she noticed that he was dressed oddly. His clothes were all far too small for him. After Josh's dad delicately laid his body on the soft dirt, he began gently pressing his hands into his son's pants. Feel his pockets. He heard a crinkle. Earlier, she had folded a piece of paper from Josh's pocket. He looked at it and was vexed. Accidentally, he handed it to his mother, but she didn't recognize it either. I asked what it was. She told me it was a map.
Are you fucking kidding me?
And I felt my heart shatter. He was finishing the map.
Was that a gift? That was
the idea for my birthday present. Oh wow. I found myself strangely hoping that he hadn't been taken while expanding it, as if that would somehow matter now. I heard Josh's father grunt and looked to see him pushing the man's body back into the ground. As he walked back toward the machine that had found this spot for him, he put his hand on a canister of gasoline and paused, with his back towards my mother.
You should go. I'm so sorry. It's not your fault. I did this. You can't think like that. There was nothing... Wait, I need to scroll down. Okay, go on.
He interjected flatly, almost with no emotion at all.
Oh, damn, this is a long line. Ow. About a month ago, a guy approached me as I was cleaning up the site on the new development block, a block over. He asked me if I wanted to make some extra money, and because my wife's not working right now, I accepted. He told me that some kids had dug a bunch of holes on his property, and he offered me $100 to fill them in. He said he wanted to take some pictures for an insurance company first, but if I came back after 5 p.m. the next day, that would be fine. I thought this guy was a sucker since I knew clearing that lot was coming up for someone. I knew clearing that lot was coming up for, so someone would have to do it anyway. But I needed the money, so I agreed. I didn't think he even had $100, but he just put the bill in my hand, and I did a job the next day. I've been so exhausted that I didn't even think about it after it was done. I didn't think about it until today when I pulled the same guy off of my son. Damn.
He pointed at the grave and his motion started to push through as he broke into a sob.
He paid me $100 so I would bury him with my boy.
That's interesting set of logistics.
Crazy.
It was as if saying it out loud forced him to accept what had happened, and he collapsed onto the ground in tears. My mother could think of nothing to say and stood there in silence for what felt like a lifetime. He finally asked what he would do about Josh.
His final resting place won't be here with this monster. Oh, that's the last line for me.
Lucky you!
This is the last lines for you too.
Oh, are we nearing the bottom?
Oh, we're very near the bum.
Oh, okay. So, I guess that's scroll bar is inaccurate. Cool. As she looked back when she reached her car, you could see black smoke billowing and diffusing against the amber sky, and she hoped against all hope Josh's parents would be okay. I left my mom's house without saying much. I told her that I loved her and that I would talk to her soon, but I don't know what soon means for us. I got in my car and left. I understood now why the ends of my childhood had stopped years ago. As an adult, I now saw connections that were lost. A child who tends to see the world in snapshots rather than in sequence. I thought about Josh. I loved him then, and I loved him even still. I miss him more now than I know I miss him more now that I'll never see him again. I find myself wishing that I had hugged him the last time I saw him. I thought about Josh's parents and how much they had lost and how quickly that loss
Had come.
They don't know about my connection to any of this, but I could never look them in the eyes now. I thought about Veronica. I had only really come to know her later in my life, but for those brief few weeks, I think I really loved her. I thought about my mother. She had tried so hard to protect me and was stronger than I would ever be. I tried to not think about the man and what he had done with Josh for more than 2 years. I mean, yeah, don't definitely want to think about that. Mostly, I just thought about Josh. Sometimes I wish that he had never sat across from me that day in kindergarten. That I'd never known what it was like to have a real friend. Sometimes I like to dream that he's in a better place. That's only a dream. I know that the world is a cruel place. A crueler still by man. There would be no justice for my friend, no final confrontation, no vengeance. It had been over for almost a decade for everyone but for me now. I miss you, Josh. I'm sorry you chose me, but I'll always cherish my memories of you. We were explorers, we were adventurers, we were free.
Damn.
That is the longest I have spoken. Unbroken time.
Yeah, we're definitely splitting up in the future.
Oh!
I am not sitting here for 6 hours again.
Not without being paid. I'm not doing that for free again. Hell no.
6 hours for free again. No. Yeah, but if you have to lay aside our tiredness, what do you think of the story in total?
Hey, someone better give us props for the marathon. God dang.
That was one of the most tragic endings to creepypasta I've read in a long time. Um, okay, so he was buried with the kidnapper because the kidnapper
So this
had.
bad had the luck of a bad penny. This kid had the luck of a bad penny. Like everyone around him died. Like, don't put this kid in a Final Destination movie. He's gonna survive just to die in the middle of the next one.
Yeah, but like I think the craziest fucking thing was when we found out the hair was dyed, darker, and it was clothing that probably came from came from the wardrobe. You know, they put up the clothes again from the boxes in part 3.
And what's funny is I think we made that joke early on too. Watch, Josh is gonna get kidnapped and end up fucking hair dyed in the ditch.
He's gonna get killed in the ditch. I knew that ditch had something to do with it. Anyways, thank you all for watching this 6 hours fucking recording. I've never felt this tired in my life. It's 3 a.m. for me right now. And yeah, thank you all for watching. And as said in the and as we said, for future things, this will not happen again this long. We'll shorten
maybe
it.
for like, if we get some kind of monetization, for some kind of celebration, like
Sure.
like we won't put a hard cap on it, but we ain't doing this shit for free again.
Yep. As we said, we will for the future now. After I've experienced a 6-hour traumatizing eye distortion because my eyes are fucking crazy. I can't focus on anything that's brighter than black right now. We will definitely cut it up in smaller parts if we continue this. Well, thank you for joining us today. I hope you enjoyed 6 hours of your life. 6 hours you will never get back. Well, we'll see you in the next video.